competition on day 3 of the National Swimming Championships was absolutely exhilarating. 2 national records, a further 5 World Championship qualifying marks were betted, and to cap it off, 3 freestyle sprinters made the grade, with the 2 men producing a stunning 50-metre final. So now it's night 4. What's in store? Hi everyone, we're back at the Sir Owen Glenn National Aquatic Centre for night 4 of the National Swimming Championships, and yes, it was an exceptional day yesterday, day 3, one of the best we've seen. Those 2 national records incidentally were set by Bradley Ashby and Matthew Hutchins. Mark, 4 names were added, 3 of those are new to this standard, so that was very encouraging.
Oh, really encouraging to get new names. We had Gabriel Fahamasili, also Sam Perry and Daniel Hunter, all in the 50 freestyle. And New Zealand's not really known in the sprint events, John. We're more middle distance events, and I think it's great to have those sprinters in there, very dominant swims by all 3 of them.
Yes, OK, well, let's have a look at the qualifiers so far. And we've got Helena Gasson in the women's 50, and you'll also see down at the bottom in the 200 IM, Corey Main, the 200 backstroke, Emma Robinson, the first of our qualifiers in the 800 free, and Matthew Stanley, one of the sprinters, Sam Perry, another sprinter, Gabriel Fahamasili, and Bradley Ashby with that fantastic New Zealand record last night. And joining them all on a page on his own is Daniel Hunter. And I think if anyone had mentioned that number of qualifiers at this stage of the event, we would have had a few eyebrows raised. What about tonight? What do you think the chances are?
Well, it's going to be an interesting night. It's going to be a tough night. We look at the women's and men's 100 breaststroke. We really don't feature the breaststroke internationally at this stage. The women's backstroke and the men's 50 backstroke, I mean, we've already had qualifiers there, and I think that we're going to see Gabriel Fahamasili again and also Corey Main do that. Women's 400 IM, let's have a look at Helena Gasson. Will she do it in the 200 and the 400? Men's butterfly, women's butterfly, again, no international. Yeah. But a great thing is at the end of the program, a relay.
Yeah, it is. A great way to finish any swimming event is the relay, the 4x200 club relay. And joining us with the excitement is Lauren Boyle, and with her is Ian Jones.
Thanks very much, John. Yes, Aqua Black number 203, Lauren Ball here giving us our expert opinion all week on Sky Sport. And Lauren, 4 people qualifying last night at this meet. The 2 swimmers, of course, Bradley Ashby in the IM. We had Helena Gasson in her 200 IM. Possibly one of the best nights of swimming we've ever seen for many a year.
It was a very exciting night last night. To have 2 guys qualify in the 50 freestyle is a big deal for New Zealand swimming, so it was a fantastic.
And Helena Gasson, really disappointed, I know, on Tuesday night to miss out in qualifying for the 100 fly, one of her featured events, but to come back and use a mental resilience to qualify 200 IM, fantastic.
Mental strength is a huge thing in swimming, and for Helena to be slightly disappointed with her 100 fly and then come back the next day and qualify in the 200 medley is great to see.
The men, of course, Daniel Hunter, great to see him. Sam Perry going really fast in the 50 free. They can also do that in the 100 free. We've got 4 swimmers going to the world champs that can go under 50. Can we have a 4x100 metre men's relay team?
We'll see tomorrow night. That'll be the final of the men's 100 free. If we can get 4 men under 50 seconds, it will be really great for New Zealand swimming.
Thanks very much, Lauren. Of course, John, before we throw to you, we've also got a full board of para swimmers events, and a couple of these guys, maybe New Zealand records, also going for the Commonwealth Games. But let's get night number 4 underway.
Yes, thank you, Ian and Lauren. And we do start, in fact, with one of the para events, and the athletes will be brought out and introduced in just a moment. It's the para men's 100 metres butterfly. And there are 3 competitors here, and we'll keep an eye on just how they've been going and what sort of records they've set and what their chances are for New Zealand representation later in the year. The 3 swimmers in this first event, the men's 100 butterfly. And out of lane 3 we will have, it's Calvin Edwards as an S8.
Well, John, I must actually say here that he broke the New Zealand record this morning for the S8 category in this 100 butterfly. So a really good swim.
Chris Arbuthnot in lane 4 and Jesse Reynolds in lane 5. The first race of the night. If you missed last night's coverage, you missed our very in-depth explanation of the classification for para swimmers. But these numbers that we have here, 8 and 9, for physical impairment. the lower the number. If you're a S1, it's the most extreme impairment through to 10. So we've got Kelvin Edwards an S8, Arbuthnot and Reynolds both S9. Arbuthnot gets that better start. He's always very impressive there. And getting into his work quickly is Jesse Reynolds from Fairfield, coached by Gary Francis, who is extremely involved in para coaching. Chris Arbuthnot in the middle, and Kelvin Edwards in lane 3, a 15-year-old from the Selwyn Club, coached by Ben Close. This is a good race.
Oh, this is a good race. You've got two categories in here, S8 and S9. Jesse Reynolds holds the S8 record in this 100 butterfly, and as we've said, Kelvin Edwards broke the S9 record, the S8 record in the heats this morning. So two categories, S8 and S9.
They've turned into their final lap, the 100 metres butterfly, our opening event on night 4 of finals here at the Owen Glen National Aquatic Centre, and not for the first time in his career, it is Chris Arbuthnot of Icebreaker. He is leading, and he will win this. A very good race too swim from Jesse Reynolds on his right, and also from Kelvin Edwards, 15 years of age, and in he touches now. This morning, his entry time was a 1:09, and I think he's gone faster than that. Edwards, a 1:08.85, so very good.
So that's a new New Zealand record for Kelvin Edwards, so congratulations. Arbuthnot was just outside the New Zealand record too, missed it by the smallest of margins. It's a beautiful entry. As we see, Arbuthnot can use both legs, and he gets a great streamline into the water. The long left limb and the shorter right limb on the arms. Amazing how they just control the flow.
Yeah.
Don't lose the rhythm.
There we are. That's the final result. 1:04.81 for Arbuthnot, 1:05.98 for Reynolds, both the S9 category. And Kelvin Edwards at S8, slightly more impaired with his physical impairment, a 1:08.85. That's the result of race 1. Good crowd tonight. We have quite a good crowd out here. We're waiting for the next event, and in the meantime, Kelvin Edwards has got out of the pool, and very impressive from him, this 15-year-old. I'd like to know a bit more about him, Ian.
Broken New Zealand record. I was pretty stoked with that race, I bet. First one of the night.
Yeah, it's really good. It feels really cool. Yeah.
Okay, Kelvin Edwards, you're an S8 category. You swim out of Christchurch. Tell us a little bit more about your swimming background. How long have you been in the sport?
I've been swimming competitively for about 4 years. It's been quite cool. I've started swimming with Selwyn.
Well, Callum, we're also going to bring in a couple of guys you competed with. Jesse Reynolds, of course, who is the New Zealand record holder in his category. Set it at Rio last year. And Jesse, I know you haven't been swimming to the mark you did in Rio last year, but this one went damn close, just outside the New Zealand mark.
Yeah, this afternoon was a hell of a lot better than this morning, so pretty happy with that. As you said, we haven't been quite at top peak where we were just before Rio, but I reckon we're at a really good starting block for the rest of this year.
And Chris, congratulations. You're the one who actually, I know you've been having some great ding-dong battles with Jesse over the years. You got him tonight, but also you two boys are qualified for the Commonwealth Games next year, which is really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I really didn't expect to qualify in the 100 backstroke of all things, but it happened, and well, I think it's just due to all the training I've done this year. I moved up to Auckland, and so I've actually done some.
So who's your coach at the moment? You've got to thank your coach for all the hard work you've been putting in.
Oh, well, I've actually got a few people to thank for that. All my previous coaches, Nicole Goldsmith, and Lynn, and Daryl, and my dad, of course. I've had heaps of coaches over the years, and my coaches for the last few months, Gary and Simon.
Well, thanks very much, lads. Inspirational stuff to set the night off. Cheers.
Yes, well done indeed. It is very inspirational. In fact, we were having a look through at the records. There's been 3, 6, 10, 11 national records set by our para swimmers. We're heading off to the 100 metres breaststroke women's final, and the woman who has been dominating breaststroke in New Zealand for quite some time. At just 21 years of age, she's based in the States now, but really looking forward to this 100 breaststroke final. Natasha Lloyd.
Natasha, you won the 200 breaststroke earlier in the meet. How do you see it going so far?
It's going really well. Coming off competing short course yards, it's kind of hard to know what to expect because it's different jumping into a 50-metre pool, but I was pretty close to my best time, so I was really pleased and I'm excited for tonight.
Right, so you swam for Auburn University at the NCAA Champs a few weeks ago. What was that competition like?
It's pretty crazy. It's definitely one of the fastest competitions in the world. And we're there with a lot of Olympians, so it's quite an incredible experience. I was personally pretty happy with my swims, and Auburn did really well this year, so it was good. It was really fast, though.
You're the captain of the Auburn University team. What's that like?
It's awesome. It's such an honour. I love that team more than anything, and being voted by the team to be their captain was just an incredible opportunity. So I loved it. I loved every moment of it, and I don't want to give it up, actually.
That's a huge plus for her, isn't it? What a great honour to be captaining the swim team at Auburn University. It just shows what an impact she's made over there.
Oh, she's a really vivacious young lady, isn't she? And she just loves the sport of swimming and loves her involvement with the university.
So the New Zealand record set some years ago by Annabelle Carey, 2006 that was. She was very impressive as a New Zealand representative, went to the Olympic Games, but now it's Natasha Lloyd in lane 4. She's up against, in lane 5, Bronagh Ryan of Porirua City, who is the New Zealand record, or the New Zealand title holder and record holder in the 100 breaststroke. No, not the record holder, but the title holder. And Bronagh Ryan will swim in lane 5. But Annabelle Carey, Natasha Lloyd, we've heard from her. Kiara Smith of North Wave will be swimming in lane 3, and she finished second in the 200 breaststroke behind Natasha Lloyd a couple of nights ago. There's Bronagh Ryan. Had a very impressive national championships last year, doing lots outside the pool in business, and here though still spending that time, necessary time to train and compete at this level. 100 metres breaststroke. Qualifying standard is 107.58, which is hugely underneath that New Zealand record of 109. But Natasha Lloyd is in good form, and she needs to start well. She gets away pretty good in lane 4, but on the other side of her, on her right, is Kiara Smith of North Wave. She starts well, so do does Ryan. They go through 25-30 metres of this first 50.
Oh, Bronagh Ryan had a tremendous start, and she dominated the first part. I think Natasha Lloyd's just moved up on her now. We're looking for about a 33-second over the first 50 metres. Maybe fraction under that if they want to contest it. It's a 32.98 or 99, so that's a very good first 50 metres. Look, it's a really big ask for the likes of Natasha Lloyd. She's been at the NCAA competition, so she's been on a taper for about 8 weeks, and that's a long, long time. Females traditionally don't have a long taper, it's a short taper, and she's just had to carry this form from yards into metres.
Well, it is Natasha Lloyd. It is a close contest. She has got the edge at the moment with 10 metres to go. Natasha Lloyd looking for the title. Smith on her left and Ryan on her right. Smith finishes strongly. Lloyd holds her out. Lloyd wins it from Smith and Ryan. Out in the centre of the pool, Natasha Lloyd wins it, her second title here. She won the 200 breaststroke. She's now won the 100. And as she said beforehand in that chat with Lauren Boyle, she's feeling pretty good, but it is difficult, as you explained again, moving from the yards into Metric. And after a big season with her university and doing other stuff, I mean, you know, being at university on a swimming scholarship is so great for a person's development, not just in the sport, but academically and worldwide as well.
Culturally as well. And, you know, she is a really popular swimmer. I thought her stroke looks extremely good. She's worked hard at this over a number of years, and she looks fantastic in the pool. It's just as on her own admission, she just doesn't think that she's got it to go under the 110, and we saw that 110.0 over this 100 breaststroke, but she had enough to win a national title, and that will just delight her to do that, because she's come all the way back here to New Zealand to contest these national championships.
Natasha Lloyd first, Cara Smith second, and Bronagh Ryan. Kaylee Jackson finished in 4th place, so that's the first 4 in this, our first A final, the women's 100 breaststroke. Throughout the night, we'll have A finals and then B finals, which means those who finished 9th fastest through to 16th will be swimming in the second race, the B final. And in this, the swimmer who just missed out was Michaela Dance of United. She swam a 1:15.6 this morning from the United Club. And also in lane 8 is Emma Moriarty, 15 years of age. She's from United as well. Lane 5, Hannah Ferguson of Howick Pakuranga. Here's the full lineup then, with Matthews, Foster, Mines, who's a visitor from Canada, Dance, Ferguson, Borlase, Fisher Masters, and Moriarty. A second breaststroke race. We've got 4 tonight, because following this we'll have the men's 100 breaststroke. Was that out there in lane 3, the Canadian, the best of the starts. She's got the black cap just to the right of your screen and looking very strong.
It was a great start, wasn't it? She just really was electric off the block and got a lot of height and a lot of distance. And she is looking extremely good.
ACR Menez of Canada in lane 3.
So in the final, in the A final, we saw them go down to 32.9. What will these B finalists do? Probably more like a 34 high to 35 or 34.5. So it's not a bad split, although she's going out, I think, a little bit fast. What can Dance do now over the latter stages?
Well, you sense there that she has started to gain just a little bit. There are 2 either side of the leader at the moment. Foster in lane 2, Dance in lane 4. And I think as I look down here in lane 8, Emma Moriarty of United 2 is looking quite good. But it's in the centre of the pool there. Yes, you can just see Moriarty fading a little bit now. She was right up with them. The battle is between lanes 3 and 4. That green line indicates the slowest of the previous race, and Mines stays with it. She led from a great start right to the finish, holding off Dance and also Ferguson in 3rd place.
Well, she put that race together extremely well. The pressure did come on Mines, but Dance didn't have enough and just couldn't increase the stroke rate. Look how much movement there were in the toes there off the block. You want to try and hold those really still and just use every bit of power you can, but Mines had a very good start, as we said. She looks nice the way she just comes up and rolls into the front part of her stroke as well. You can see the grimace on her face. Only 13 years of age, so really young, and a lot of improvement still to go, this young lady.
Yes, you'd sort of put that name in the back of your mind a wee bit, wouldn't you, and see where she is in 3 years' time. She wins it, 1:14.46, but the New Zealand title holder will be, or not title holder, but winner from in general, because you don't have a visitor taking official placing. So it's Dance, Ferguson and Borlase. Julia Borlase, another good swim from her at these national championships. The men standing by, looking cool and calm and relaxed and making out they're not thinking about it, that they go through their routine. There are some who've been disappointed in the breaststroke, one of those being the man we'll see in the lane 4, George Schroeder. He was beaten in the 200 when most of us were thinking he'd win it.
Yeah, he was in lane 4 as well in the 200 metres. He's in the High Performance Centre up here in Auckland.
And
there's big raps about him and how much improvement he's done, but he just hasn't put it together yet.
So Julian Layton is the man who beat him, and he'll be swimming in lane 6. So we've got there Schroeder in lane 4, 21 years of age.
Layton 1 year older and 22.
Of course, there is no Glenn Snyders, who has won this for as long as most of us can remember.
11 titles in a row, I think he had in this 100 breaststroke.
Another of our visitors, Azad Al-Baratzi from Syria, swimming in lane 5. As I mentioned, we've got a couple of swimmers from Saudi Arabia and from the Pacific Islands. Canada, we've just seen.
Keep an eye also, John, on Jacob Garrett in lane number 3. He'll go down the first 50, possibly in front.
Garrett was 3rd in the 200. Rutter here in lane 7. He was the bronze medalist in the 200 metres individual medley. A very good breaststroker. We saw that from his race there. Now the qualifying standard is 60.35 seconds. And none of these swimmers have gone within that range, but they're all pushing each other hard. So they've got to go for it. And it is Schroeder at the moment, but just ahead of him, it's the visitor, Al-Baratzi. And maybe also Layton. They turn, and in first place it is Al-Baratzi from Schroeder, and Jacob Garrett, you were right, he went out quickly.
Quite contrasting styles, as you can see, but a great pull out in lane number 4 from George Schroeder, and also Garrett on the outside. But also coming up now is Julian Layton. This is anybody's race right now. And it's who's going to hold it together.
Layton's in lane 6, and he starts to come up. You can see that black cap there. There's 3 in a row. It is Schroeder in the red, still holding. Layton finishing strongly. Schroeder holds it and gets it. Ahead of Al-Baratzi. Layton 3rd, very, very close. 0.3 back was Al-Baratzi, 0.4. Layton, who finished strongly, without doubt. And Schroeder, though, gets that title that he was seeking. He wanted 2, he's got 1. And he had to work mightily for this.
Yeah, you can see when he comes up to breathe here, he just almost gets a little bit of a pullback on his stroke rather than keeping that momentum forward. But it's a good technique, and he held it together in the last part of the race and just came through. So he kept his stroke rate up and kept it going, which is good to see.
Well, remember, this is the stroke which Glenn Snyder's dominated for forever and was world-class in that. And now it is George Schroeder, a 1:02.31. The qualifying standard 1:00.35, and Snyder's New Zealand record is 59.7. But Schroeder, a win. Layton will get the silver medal, and Garrett the bronze for the New Zealanders finishing in the 100 breaststroke.
Interesting, isn't it? Schroeder's got the New Zealand Glenn Snyder's got the New Zealand record at 59.78, but we never actually saw him do it here in New Zealand, going under the minute.
He was so close on several occasions, wasn't he? Yeah.
And it's one of those barriers that you want to see broken, and I know he always wanted to do it here in New Zealand.
Just looking back, he did that 1:00.04 in 2012. That was the year he set the New Zealand record. So the B final, you see there that New Zealand record 59.78 by Snyders. B final, and there's Hamish Trillin. I think we got him a little bit confused last night. They had a change of lanes when we weren't aware of it, but he's wearing the capital cap, which should have given it away to us last night. Hamish Trillin in lane 4.
Yes, we better give him a few accolades here tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, we didn't play justice last night. We just didn't have the correct start sheets, did we?
So Hamish Trillin.
Great race last night in that B final too.
Yeah. Jack Callagher starts in lane 1, and Cameron Blair in 2. Max Kennedy Till in 3. Trillin, then Brun Maunder of Napier in 5. Shakil Va'atua in 6. Dan Coolbull in 7, and Cole Price in 8.
It's interesting, Trillin has actually finished 2nd at the New Zealand short course in the 1500 free. You don't see freestylers becoming breaststrokers and vice versa.
No, they tend to steer clear of it, don't they?
Yeah, a true breaststroker, they turn their feet out. They just don't like kicking freestyle properly.
Very even start with possibly the best away.
Fantastic start in lane number 6 from the Howick Pakuranga Club. He's a beautiful breaststroker. He just really is. He just flows, and he's held a number of New Zealand age group records. Just hasn't kicked on, but he's now 23 years of age, and he should, to be fair, be in the A final.
Yeah. So it is the Howick Pakuranga swimmer who is leading. Va'atua turns comfortably in front, 0.68 ahead of Maunda, and Corbel in 3rd place.
That's a good split, 30.01 for the Va'atua. Will he hold it together? He is a very good technician. But breaststroke is such a fatiguing stroke.
Yeah.
And it requires more power than any of the other strokes. And once that power goes and you lose the feel, you've lost it.
And Maunda and Va'atua has actually lost it now as he sees the 3 swimmers on an inside. Maunda, Trillin and Kennedy Till move ahead, and it is going to be Maunda who gets there ahead of Kennedy Till, and Trillin in lane 4 finishing in 3rd place. An outstanding start and a very good 75 by Shaquille Va'atua, but Aqua Hawks Brun Maunda, 17 years of age, gets up and wins that, and his time will flash up for you very soon. He might well be happy. He swam a 106.21 this morning.
You just don't see the start that Va'atua had because he was in the inside lanes. But this is Trillin, a very good technician as well for a freestyler, and I keep referring back to that. He finished right up there, but just didn't take out the gold. But if we see it right here now, Va'atua, who was leading, you can see how his stroke rate just totally changed and dropped off, and we saw Maunda come through nicely. So a nice finish there by Maunda. So 105.44, that's faster than what he set in the heats this morning, so a good swim.
So the breaststrokes have finished. The crowd just relaxing now for a moment. There's more to come for you on this second last penultimate night of the championships. There have been medal ceremonies throughout each of the nights, and here's some of those from last evening with the para swimmers from the 200 IM for both men and women. And we also had last night the 100 backstroke for both men and women, with Mike Stanley, the head man in our Olympic committee, presenting some of those tonight, Corey Main. And then the 800 free, where we had a New Zealand record set by this man, Matthew Hutchins, to cap off last night's competition.
Great swim that was too, wasn't it?
Absolutely. So more ceremonies, of course, tonight, and more big racing coming up for you on night 4 of the National Championships. This is a penultimate night of finals here at the New Zealand National Open Swim Championships in Auckland. And there's more to come for you. We've already had some very good finals. No new qualifiers, but coming up we have the 50-metre backstroke for both men and women, and the women's 400 IM, 200 butterfly for both men and women, and we'll end with a para swim, the 200 metres freestyle, and the 4x200 club relay. So excitement aplenty still coming up in session 8. Well, the next race we have for you is the 50-metre backstroke final for women. A couple of real young stars in this, and one of those is Bobby Gishard, who before the race had a chat with Lauren Boyle.
Bobby, you're representing the Howick Pakuranga Swim Club at these nationals. Tell us where you're training at the moment.
I'm training out at Northcote College, at the Northcote College pool with David Lyles, and there's a few other swimmers that train there with me as well.
Awesome. And how have you found the nationals so far?
I think it's been actually quite fun to watch, like looking at all the different Olympians and new world champ qualifiers like qualify for different meets. I think it's been really cool watching them.
Tonight you're up in the 50 backstroke. What do you do to prepare for a sprint like that?
Just pretty much do a lot of sprints and warm up. I think like definitely around 1 to 1.5K of warming up and doing a lot of sprints, like I said, and it just, you know, keeps me fired up, I guess.
Fantastic. Good luck for your race tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think they're all enjoying chatting with Lauren, having swum with her and watched her over the years. It's good to have her expertise poolside. We see here New Zealand record, Gabrielle Famasili, set a couple of years ago, 27.81. Now, the qualifying standard for the World Championships is 28.52. But she's capable, obviously, and she's just so relaxed now too, Mark. She's a strong swimmer. She's relaxed because she's cracked the qualifying time already. So she'll start in lane 4 with Gishard in lane 5.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think either of them, Gishard or Famasili, are both capable of going under their qualifying time. And it's going to be interesting. Traditionally, Gishard's been more of the 200 backstroker, Famasili in the 50, and to be fair, she is a former world youth champion in this event.
Yes, well, we remember the stunning impact she made as a youngster at the World Juniors, winning this event, the 50 metres backstroke.
She's so strong.
Yeah, she looks powerful. She is powerful, an explosive start. She gets power generated through the legs into the body. And when she emerges, as you've often said, she surges out of the water, which is a big advantage, isn't it?
Don't discount Bobby Gishard either.
Yep.
And probably got a bit of a point to prove. She won the 100 backstroke last night, and in what was a good swim. She looked really good, just a disappointing time.
Yeah.
But a good swim.
Well, I'm sure David Lyles, she mentioned her coach in the pre-interview that he will have worked on her head as much as anything. She's capable. They're both capable. Set now, 50 metres backstroke, women's final. It's the drive off the wall by both of these swimmers, or all of them, the 8 of them, but into their work very quickly. Famasili looks to have that initial impact, but Gishard is with her. This will be close as Famasili just starts to exert that little bit of dominance. She's seeking a qualifying time, but Gishard is right alongside. Famasili ahead of that qualifying time. Famasili, she gets to the wall just outside Famasili. Gishard second, and in third place, Ella Gossil of Capital, a 28.6 for Gabrielle Famasili. While it might not have bettered that qualifying standard, just missing, the encouraging thing really is that she went faster than this morning, so she's in great form.
Yeah, fantastic start, as you can see here. And yes, she is in good form. She looked fantastic for 45 metres. And look at it, that body position there. She's lying back. She's got her stroke rate up. She's powerful under the water. She's keeping her kick going. And then you'll see it just in a moment. She'll start to sit up a little bit. She's just got to hold that form. Her stroke rate slowed here, but that's the end of how lactic acid will start to hit her, and it just slowed her up. and that was what cost her in the end, but it's still a very good victory.
28.52 was the qualifying standard, 28.6 for her, 28.89 for Gishard, 29.55 for Ella Kossel from the Capital Club. So there's two 17-year-olds and an 18-year-old. They're out there pushing the barriers in New Zealand backstroke swimming, and Fa'amausili already in that World Championship team and looking very, very good. Well, when they reflect on it, of course, Mark, they're thinking back to, you know, 25 seconds or 28 seconds of swimming, and flashes through their minds what they could have done. And she'll, no doubt, when looking back at it with her coach, say, yep, that was it, just towards the end.
And also, you know, it's so easy to just push the boundaries a little bit too hard, slip in your hand under the water, not actually catch it effectively. And coaches will break that down to every single stroke and look at the stroke rates and how it changes throughout the whole event.
The B finalists now in the same event, the women's 50 metres backstroke. The two visitors we have from New Caledonia and Canada.
Big ask for this young 13-year-old again, isn't it, from Canada?
Yeah. So lane 4, we have Emma Godwin of North Shore. And you're talking about the 13-year-old in lane 7. Is she fronted up in this? Yes. So there's lane 5, Stevie Shipman from Raumati.
Coached by John Winter.
Yeah.
Does a really good job, too, as a coach.
The Raumati Raptors, they have their shirt on. Some of their supporters are here tonight wearing those shirts.
What a backstroker he was, too. And also a butterfly, to be fair, as a coach.
Yeah, now doing very well.
Former Olympian John Winter.
So, Godwin in 4. Shipman in 5, Kyla Alexander of United in 3, Ebony Maikuku in 2 from Jazzy. This is the B final for women in the 50 metres backstroke. And you see a sluggish start from Shipman from Raumati. Oh no, that in fact was Greta Agnew of United. Lane 4, we've got Emma Godwin of North Shore just holding it together at the moment. Also Kyla Alexander of United. This is going to be close at the finish. It will be in lane 4, Emma Godwin. She does get up to win this. Godwin from Alexander to her right. So Godwin wins it. Alexander and Maikuku. Ebony Maikuku of Jazzy is in 3rd place. In fact, it was Shipman who had the poor start, wasn't it, in lane 5?
Yeah, you called it perfectly. Yeah. She had a very poor start. So this is Godwin, the winner. See a little bit of a bounce there in the stroke, but you can see the grimace there in the face showing that she's applying a lot of power under the water.
So the bounce you talked, was that less effective?
Oh, definitely less effective. It means that you're going up and down as opposed to rotating, and you're getting, I guess, drag off the water because of the fact that you're going up and down.
Godwin, Alexander, Maikuku.
Of course, every time you go up and down, you're pushing more water, and that's very hard. You want to go over the water. It's a bit like when we talk sailing. You know, the foiling is so much faster now, isn't it?
Now we move on to the men's, the 50-metre backstroke final. We haven't had any qualifiers tonight, new qualifiers. The New Zealand record, Daniel Bell. What a stunner he was. When he was on form, there weren't many who could beat Daniel Bell anywhere. 25.24. 25.29 is the World Championship qualifying time. Kone Kutsia is in lane 4. Daniel Hunter, who last night, if you watched, won the scintillating 50-metre freestyle. He swims out of lane 1. He'll be totally relaxed for this.
Oh, he's a good backstroker too. He started off his career as a 200 freestyler and a backstroker, so I wouldn't discount him because he's now a straight-out sprinter, pure power. But let's keep an eye on lane number 1. Will he be an outside smoker?
Well, Kutsia was 2nd in the 100 back and 3rd in the 200. Finn Kennard-Campbell swimming in lane 5 at the national age groups. He won the 50 and 100 backstroke, so he's in good shape, the 17-year-old from North Shore. Bailey Main, of course, swims out of Florida University. He's looking good. And Daniel Hunter there we saw in lane 1. Yesterday he was so uptight, it's amazing he even managed to hit the water, but he swam brilliantly to qualify in the 50 freestyle, along with Sam Perry. So 2 New Zealand 50-metre freestylers, male and 1 female, going to the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary in July. They're set to go now. Cameron James, Jack Anderson, Kane follows. They complete the field. The starts are all good. Watch particularly for Daniel Hunter way up at the top in lane 1, and Coetzee gets away very well in lane 4, but there it is a splash and dash, and Bailey Main. So Bailey Main in 3, Coetzee in 4, Kennard Campbell in 5. The big work is coming from lane 3, Bailey Main and Hunter in lane 1, and it is Main who just pips Hunter. Main wins it, Hunter second, Kennard Campbell in 3rd place, and they've shut Coetzee out of the top placings. And what sort of time did we get?
Oh, look, it was a very, very good swim by Bailey Main, 25 high, outside of that World Championship qualifying time, but it's still a very good swim by the younger of the Main brothers. Of course, Corey won the 100 and 200 backstroke. The older brother didn't contest this 50 backstroke, but Bailey Main, fabulous start last night in the 100 backstroke, faded in the end, but he's put it together in this 50 backstroke. And as we said, Daniel Hunter, look at him right there. I thought Kennard Campbell had a fantastic 50 backstroke as well, 26.14 for this young 17-year-old.
So that's the men's 50-metre backstroke, men's and women's. The B final to come. Well, it's a very impressive swim from Bailey Main. Some impressive performances all round. That was a great finish, Ian Jones.
Well, thanks very much. He absolutely was, John. Well, Bailey, your brother's not here, so it's nice to interview you. And of course, he had a ding-dong battle with the HBK teammate Daniel Hunter. But congratulations, splash and dash, 50 back. You're really stoked.
Yeah, it was a good race. Just good to like swim fast with the guys. So yeah, happy.
And your brother's not swimming. Is that for any reason? Did you give him the nod?
No, he's trying to rest up for tomorrow. He's got a big race, so I guess he didn't want to get beaten.
And the tall streak in lane 1, I know you train a lot together with Daniel Hunter. You saw him do what he did last night in the 50 free. You just pipped him.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to race Dan because he's one of the fastest New Zealand sprinters, so it's like so much fun to race him.
Well, it was fun watching the sprinters too, so well done in your race, and good to get the gold medal that your brother couldn't get.
Thank you.
Indeed, yes, there'll be a bit of ribbing there. Family all impressed with that.
Plus he's got that American twang in there now, training out of Florida University.
Yeah, well, you couldn't help but get that.
No.
Women's 400 individual medley then. Helen Norfolk, that's a long-standing record which needs to be broken. I think even Helen would say that. Come on, someone get up and knock that over. Well, that's 4:39.07. That would be 4 seconds under the World Championship qualifying standard.
And she is a 3-time Olympian, Helen Norfolk. 1996 was her first Olympics.
So Jamie Fisher, JC Kropp, Rebecca Chain, Helena Gasson, Ruby Matthews, Ellie Eastwood, Jessica Igo and Sarah Hamilton, with all attention on Gasson in lane 4. So she has already qualified for the World Championship. She did so on the opening night in the 50 metres fly, but then sealed it last night very impressively, squeaking inside the 200 individual medley qualifying time. So it'll be a complete change of attitude for Gasson now as she enters the 400 individual medley. Rebecca Chain at 17 is on her right in lane 3, and Ruby Matthews at 18 years of age is in lane 5. There's Matthews in lane 5. So this is a 400 individual medley. Gasson this morning swam a 4:48.26, and she would have been 15 metres clear of anyone else. There she goes. what sort of frame of mind is she in? She will certainly be attacking it, you would imagine, because to qualify for 3 events will be something special. But she's done it in a very well last night, didn't she? The 200 IM.
Yeah, I was really impressed the way she swam that 200 IM. She's qualified for the Olympics in Rio in the butterfly events, and to come back and do it so well in the individual medley, I think she impressed not only herself, but she certainly impressed us last night. Just the composure of all of the 4 strokes that she had. Forget the butterfly, but she impressed me in the back and in particular the breaststroke and the way she wound up in the freestyle. And that's what she's acknowledged from Jerry, her coach in the High Performance Centre here.
And that's having an impact. And already, when we have a look at the rest of the field in just a moment, you can see there she's on target at the moment. But so far clear of the rest. So it becomes, you know, in some cases, some instances, really almost a solo swim. But she'll be well aware as she turns now that over there in lane 2, JC Kropp of North Shore is hanging in there. And now she gets a better idea. She's on her back. She's very good at the backstroke as well. But we know how good she is at fly. And we know how good, too, she's become at breaststroke. It really has improved on her.
I like to split over that first 100 butterfly. She didn't push it. And I think that's so important when you've got 4 disciplines to put together, 8 lengths of the pool, 100 metres of each of these strokes. But you'll notice it now, she's just maintaining a nice breathing pattern there. She's just making sure that she doesn't suck in any water. She's turning there with the first 50 of the backstroke going. She's underwater. She's still using as much off the wall as she possibly can. Of course, you can push yourself to 15 metres, but by doing that, there's also a delayed factor in that you're holding your breath for so long, and there is I guess, a detrimental effect of that as well if you haven't conditioned yourself well enough.
So JC Kropp is second, Rebecca Chain in lane 3 there. The other 2 swimmers we can see there. They're in 2nd and 3rd place. You see that line stretched out. Just remind you, though, that that line is actually an average over the qualifying standard, and it'll extend even more probably in the breaststroke. But then you'll notice it close up quite substantially over the freestyle. So now Gasson, who incidentally can't see that line, and we've got to stress that, that Gasson has a really good idea. That mental clock, mental stopwatch is working.
Yeah, so 4:48 is what she swam this morning. That's very much 2:18 through the first 200 metres. Very much on the same sort of times as what she swam this morning. But she seems to be pushing the breaststroke along a little bit harder now. She's probably holding about a 41 second over the 50 metres breaststroke here. As we look at her going in, the crowd's really getting behind her, because this is one stroke where they can really get buoyed on by the crowd, because every time your head's coming up out of the water, and she actually went a 40 point over that 50 breaststroke, so she is working the breaststroke leg.
Great shot of her. Really surging forth, looking very composed. And look, you see, oh, I thought that was the line we were just seeing there, but we haven't. I think she might be just a bit beyond it now. Here she goes, coming to the end of the breaststroke. 100 metres left in the freestyle.
So I'd like to see her under 340 at the 3/4 mark. Well, she's right there, 340.6. Now, that means that she needs to come back in a 103 in order to qualify for the World Championships. A good medley swimmer, really, if you have a look at their butterfly time, they come back and do the same sort of time in freestyle over the 100. And she went a 104 for the 100 fly, so she has to work really hard to do the 103 in the last 100 metres freestyle.
All right, here we go. It's Gasson coming up to touch with 50 remaining. She's going to touch in a 4:14. And that's tough work for her, but it's going to be a good time.
Yeah,
look, Gasson.
It's certainly not going to be a World Championship qualifying time. It's just too slow over that first 50 metres freestyle. But she's had a very big program, and I think that she's had a confidence-boosting program as well. So you can see that white line is just running ahead of her, and it has been pretty much the whole way. But, wow, look how much of a victory this is. It's just nobody else, night and day between them.
And no one else in the shot yet. Look, as Gasson touches, where's the next swimmer? Way up there in lane 2, and that's JC Kropp. Oh, no, it's not her. Coming back in lane 5 or 6 was Ellie Eastwood, maybe.
Yeah, definitely Ellie Eastwood.
Ellie Eastwood. So picking it up over the breaststroke did Eastwood. So Gassam wins it. Eastwood is second, and Matthews in third place. And Gassam's time 4:46.26, a couple of seconds faster than this morning, but 3 seconds outside that qualifying standard. Another title, though, for this outstanding swimmer in all sort of areas, individual medley, fly as well, Helena Gassam.
It's a nice streamline as she goes into the water. And this is the first 100 meters butterfly. As we said, probably a little bit relaxed over the first 100. Didn't push it as hard as what she swam this morning. And as I indicated, I thought that was a good sign. You want to come back very hard in the latter stages of the race, particularly in the Breaston freestyle, which I thought she pushed, but she just didn't have it in terms of an overall improvement. But that would be pretty close to her own personal best time.
Yep.
She's really worked hard on her breaststroke, and you can see the development that's occurred in the way she swims it. Look, you can't really fault her technique. She looks good in the water.
So there we are, 4:46.66. A massive margin back to Ali Eastwood, who finished very strongly, particularly over the breaststroke and the freestyle. Ruby Matthews finished in third place ahead of Krop, who'd been second for much of the race. The women's 400 individual medley. So we've had quite a few medal ceremonies already this evening. We just have a look back at what's happened tonight so far. You know, the first of those was the para swim, which was really impressive and nice to hear from all those swimmers afterward, thanks to Ian Jones. The breaststroke for men, women and men, with George Schroeder getting his title that he was looking for. So we've got more coming for you, more excitement. Remember, we end with the club relay, so that's enough to stay around for. Back soon here on Sky. Well, the crowd is now awaiting. We've just had another medal ceremony, which we'll show you later on. And we're getting ready for the 200 metres butterfly final, which is coming up. But we also have a chat with a man who's really been, I think, the star of the event so far, particularly with his New Zealand record last night. That's Bradley Ashby.
You had a great night last night, Bradley. You beat the World Championship standard in the 200 medley. What's your 200 fly going to be like tonight?
Well, 200 fly is one of those races where anything can happen. I'm looking to go do another personal best time. Fly's been feeling pretty good, so there's a possibility I could go pretty close to that World Champs as well, which is sort of a target that we've been set.
Yeah, you broke the New Zealand record last night, so how are you feeling about the meet so far?
Well, that was kind of a target, the World Champs qualifying time, and that was a bit slower than my PB, so I was trying to get under that and being able to do it, and then going close as well in the 400 IM has been really great. So.
And tonight there'll be a bit of a rivalry between you and Sean Burnett. How do you think that's going to go?
I'm not too sure. I hope he comes out swinging. He's won this event for probably past or since Moss sort of retired, and so I think it'd be good to see someone take him down.
Does it push you along having someone right there beside you in a race?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we do it for, racing other people, but it's also to prove what you can do yourself. So besides that, it's a bit of both.
Excellent. Good luck for this evening.
Thank you.
Well, he's thriving here. That New Zealand record and qualifying standard. It really took, look, you see the big smile on his face as he stands there in the background. He is nice and relaxed. That New Zealand record set by Moss Burmester. What a stunning swim that was. He set the time of 1:54. So we see now those who face up against Ashby, and one of those on the other side of him is Sean Burnett, who's won this title 5 times in a row. Sean Burnett in lane 4 and Willie Coetzee in lane 5. 3 to watch. Along with we must keep an eye on some others in this race too, but here's Burnett, 3rd in the 100 fly. He was at his peak, I say he's won it 5 times. He was at his peak really about 3 years ago, and while he's won the title, it just seems as though Burnett has plateaued a wee bit, and it would be great to see him at age 26 to stay there and show that he's still got it. Willie Coetzee in lane 5 will be out to thwart him. He was 2nd in the 100 fly. And Bradley Ashby is in lane 3. We've heard from Bradley. And then down here in lane 7 too, this Lewis Clareburt, who's really shone from age group nationals, where he picked up 8 titles, now to being 2nd in the 400 free, 400 IM and 200 IM. So he's down in lane 7. .200 metres butterfly for men. This is the A final. And the 5 times title holder, Sean Burnett, swims out of lane 4. He's the senior citizen here at age 26. And has he still got it? But a very good start from Ashby in lane 3.
Well, Ashby finished 4th in this event last year at the National Championships with a 2:00.6, I think it was, over the 200 fly. So, you know, he's certainly got a good 200 fly in him. He turns with a 26.65. So that's a pretty good split over that first 50 metres. You'll notice that he uses the 200 fly for his 200 medley more than anything else, is conditioning and training, and you need to do a lot of 200 flyers. In fact, if you look at the best 200 medley swimmers in the world, they are also outstanding 200 butterfly swimmers. Well, Michael Phelps is notorious for that, does both.
Coming up to the halfway, and it's going to be Ashby who turns in first place, with Burnett, the title holder, in 2nd, and Coetzee. So it's lanes 3, 4 and 5 in that order. Also there is David van der Star and Lewis Clareburt down to this side.
57 over the first 100 metres, John. This is where the race is really won or lost. You have to work the third 50, but you've got to maintain your composure about it. And I think Ashby's swimming this extremely well. He's just actually clearing off and he's still maintaining that form. Now, this turn is going to indicate it. Does he stay under the turbulence? Exactly that. What a great streamline. And you can see that he just came out on the turn ahead of the rest of the field. And now with 25 metres still to swim, will he do a personal best and go under 2:00, which is his BB?
He turned a second clear of the rest. He's maintaining that form, and that's what you expect from him. This is where the attackers will make a move if they can, but they can't. Ashby holds it. Sean Burnett finishes just ahead of Coetzee, and that's another excellent race, a 2:00.19.
Yeah, it was a great swim, wasn't it? You know, he went for it from the beginning. He worked that third 50. Look, he was hurting. There's no doubting. The piano started to come down on him in that last 50 metres, and particularly the last 25. But this is early parts of the race. You can see Burnett just hung back, but he was always there. Impressive swim by Ashby. In fact, he's had an impressive meet. He has been the form swimmer. That New Zealand record in the 200 IM was, I think, the best international swim at these national championships. There's no doubting in my mind about that. You'll see he came up off the turn quite high in his breathing, particularly that first breath, sucked in a couple of big breaths.
That's punishing, isn't it? That whole race, I mean, but that last 25, when you've done everything you can, and now you know, you've just got to guts it out. Bradley Ashby, a 2:00.19. Sean Burnett in second place. That's not a bad time for Burnett, actually. He has gone under 2 minutes a few times, of course. Coetzee second, and Claire Burt, another impressive swim at this time in the butterfly, in fourth place. Helena Gasson holds the New Zealand record in the 200 fly, and that's set last year, 2:09.84. And that was an outstanding swim too from her. It showed the quality of this young woman, who then headed off to the Rio Olympics. As we look now at the starting lineup here with Emily Rennell, Jenna Ralston-Larking, and Caitlin Steedman. Charlotte Webby, who we must say has already made the World Championship team in the open water team, so that she's fantastic. And how many times has she won this event?
Well, she's won it quite a few times.
Yeah.
She first won this title in 2007.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
This is her, Charlotte Webby, at age 28.
But as you said, John, they have already announced the open water team, and Charlotte Webby is our contestant in the open water.
One of the younger swimmers who really is impressive, isn't she? Yonsu
She'll
Lee.
be hard to beat too, to be fair. She'll be a really hard one to beat.
She was second in the 50 and second in the 100 fly. So in lane 2, as just mentioned, Jenna Ralston-Larking is 13. And their blocks ready to go. So the 200 fly for women. The national record held by Gasson at 2:09.84. She's not in this event. And Charlotte Webby goes in as the leading qualifier with a 2:18.39. And as we mentioned, she's been an outstanding New Zealand representative in the open water contest, and she will be heading off to the World Open Water Championships. But you mentioned about Yonsu Lee. And she turns first, and quite comfortably so too, ahead of Uberhand in lane 7.
The only thing I would say about that is she gone out too hard. Well, I always thought that she was going to be the one to beat, but 29 over the first 50, that's pretty impressive. But she's having a go. Look, she's a gutsy young lady, and she's got class behind her. We've watched her right through the age group ranks, and she's done a very, very good job. She's very close to that lane line, which is interesting, on her left-hand side. Now let's just make sure that she stays on that left-hand side and doesn't swim in a circuit fashion. So she goes through 103. Now look at that, she's moved to the, again, to the other side. Now that's interesting, because what that means is that she's not taking the shortest distance. It's not going up and down in a straight line. So she's going in what we always refer to as circuit swimming as part of training.
Well, at the moment anyway, with over half this race gone, Yonsu Lee is holding good form. She is an outstanding prospect. She really has swum well at championships in previous years. And she was third in this in 2016, third in the 400 IM. So she does the IM as well. Now Webby, with all that experience, closes that gap.
Oh, John, look,
she's gone.
I think Yonsei Lee is gone. She's gone. The piano's come down, and look at Charlotte Webby. Won the national title in 2007, and she looks as if she's going to roll over the top. In fact, I do think that Yonsei Lee has paid the price of a 29. It was just crazy, and you can see just totally stopped her stroke then. But what a fantastic victory once again for Charlotte Webby. This might be her last national championships, hopefully not.
Here she is. What a performer she's been in the pool and also in open water. Charlotte Webby from Aquablades New Plymouth does it again. Won her first title in this in 2007. 10 years later, she's done it again. And a 2:18.38. So that's pretty much the time she swam this morning. And she, with all that experience, knew the pace that she could swim to and still win this. Yonsei Lee, to give her credit, she went out and had a go, didn't she?
Oh, it was gutsy. It was really gutsy. Foolish, but gutsy. But also, you know, I don't want to knock her, but she certainly made mistakes in the race too by swimming in the circuits, as we saw quite clearly. But boy, let's give credit to Charlotte Webby. She put that race together superbly. And you could see the tension in her face, and she finished. She's only doing pool swimming because of the fact that she needs to do that to maintain her fitness and training and the competition for that open water swim. Good on her. Oh, you can see how much pain there is in that. She hurt. She was so far ahead.
I know, yeah.
And where did she finish? Fifth
place. But she went for it. That was what she'd made her mind up to do. Hopefully get out far enough and be able to hold on. Charlotte Webby wins it. Caitlin Steedman, Vanessa Uberhan, second and third in the women's 200 butterfly. So we move on now to the 200 freestyle. That's as it says there for you, mixed class. There's 4 swimmers. And the mixed classes are S14, 3 S, well, they're all S14s. Yes, they are, yep. So S14 indicates that's intellectual disability or impairment, as the correct term is these days. You're going to be onto that. So S14 it is. So Ethan Sionipulu, Tama Soloota, David Beck and Jane Fox.
So you'll see that Jane Fox is the only female. She has 1 lane separation from the boys. Jane Fox, she will be chasing the New Zealand record, which she actually holds at 2:44.89. And the other 3 S14s men will be chasing the New Zealand record of 2 minutes 20.53. And if we have a look at this young man in the picture right now, he broke the New Zealand record this morning in that heats of the 200 freestyle, where he went to 2:19.34.
Jane Fox. We've been learning quite a bit about these swimmers. And
Jane is just a delight around.
Oh,
She'll
yeah,
always
yeah.
come up and just start chatting to you and talking away as if she's known you your whole life. She's fantastic.
this is 200 meters freestyle. It's 4 swimmers with intellectual impairment. They're all S14, which is the classification for swimmers with that particular disability or impairment. And we see a very good swim here. David Beck, who is a character, and we might hear from David afterwards. We'll see how things go. He touches the wall now, does his turn nicely. Didn't turn quite as well as the man on the inside of him, Tama Soloota. And Solowato might well have just taken the lead here. He has. So he's in lane 4.
But there was nothing that separated these two from the heats this morning. Solowato, who holds the New Zealand record, Beck just outside that New Zealand record this morning. So it'll be a great race. You can see quite contrasting styles. Beck very straight arm, what we traditionally see with more of the 50-metre freestylers, versus Solowato with a very long, loose, relaxed arm stroking.
Solowato has just picked up the lead off that turn. Beck's not giving it up though. Look, and surges back nicely. This is very close between these two.
John, that's a very good split, 105 through that first 100 metres. This is about 3 seconds faster than the time that they set this morning in the heats. So it will be interesting to see how much they probably will break the New Zealand record by and who's going to win it out of these two. But let's also keep an eye on Jane Fox down in lane number 7. Oh, she's a ways back from these two men that are out in front. But still, boy, another great turn by Solowato.
But again, Beck starts to just pick it up again after the turn. So this is very impressive from both these swimmers. Looking at, as you see, Solowato is turning to his right and now again to his left, but they were both viewing each other previously. And Fox, you can see, in goes the sprint from from David Beck. And I don't think Solowato has noticed this. He's looking away from him, and it is David Beck who sprints home to take this out of lane 5 from Mount Albert Grammar, 2:16.88.
Wow, 3 seconds off the New Zealand record. So the New Zealand record has passed hands from the heats this morning through to the finals tonight. And you can see David Beck, he's just delighted with that swim.
Absolutely stunning. If you were watching closely, he seemed to just lose it a bit on the turns to Tama. But gosh, that last 50 from him was just extraordinary. Here we go now. Jane Fox in lane 7, and she has swum very well indeed. We'll get her time as well. I think a 2:48 for her, which is similar to what her entry time, 2:48. So she's in good form, and she's already set a national record in the 50 metres freestyle and the 100 metres backstroke. So it's been a very good event for her. And now we see this finish. Is this the finish? Yeah. Oh,
well, it was interesting.
Gosh.
David Beck just happened to be able to increase his stroke rate so much more, and that's what brought him home. Look at the delight in him. So David Beck with a 2:16.88, a new New Zealand record for S14. Solowato in 2:17.38. And Jane Fox taking out the females S14, 2:48.88, 4 seconds slower than her own New Zealand record.
Well, that's the final results there. That was a stunning finish by David Beck, outgunning his good mate Tama to win it. And then we saw later on Jane Fox come home in another fine time. She's had a great tournament, and both of them now, David Beck and Jane Fox, are downstairs with Ian Jones.
Yep, they certainly are, John. But Jane, we're going to start with David because I want you to catch your breath. That was a fantastic last 50. But David, congratulations. Tell us about the 200 freestyle New Zealand record.
Well, I got to say, for a moment, after when I dived in, I was going exactly as how I was told I was meant to, what to do through the pool. I did exactly as what I did, and next thing for a moment, I felt like I was starting to wear out, but I stuck with it.
Well, David, your coaches will be very pleased because in particular, last 50 is where you pushed it the hardest. You look like Superman.
Yeah, that's what I'm usually people consider me as Superman. Yeah, but I knew I had to go for it because once I noticed Tama was pulling ahead, I knew I had to come after him.
Fantastic, David. You're Superman. We'll go to Wonder Woman. Jane, I saw you so focused before. I know it's your first New Zealand Open. You look so happy to be here. Congratulations on your swim.
Thank you.
Now tell everyone about your motto, because I heard you saying before about what's your motto before you swim?
No gain, no pain.
That's exactly right. Are you happy with your swim of the 200 free?
Yeah.
Congratulations, really inspirational stuff. The crowd love it. Give it up, everyone.
Thank you.
This is the final event of the night, the men's 4x200 meters freestyle relay. And this will be 4 teams taking part. There are all some familiar faces there for you to have a look at. And the 4 teams are Coast Swimming Club, North Shore Swimming, Whanganui and Capital Swim Club. And here we go. We're just struggling to find the teams, and we've got them now in very small print, I might say. No, that's all right. But Mark won't be able to read it. I won't be able to hear it, and he won't be able to read it. We're a good team here, actually. So here we are, the Coast Swimming Club. And North Shore will swim out of lane 4 with Callum Prime, Tom Mulder, Jackson Kropp, and Kone Kutsia. So that's their 4. And the Whanganui Club in lane 5, Matthew Hutchins, Zachary Clark, Thomas Moot, and William Campbell. So Hutchins looking keen to start off. Capital have Lewis Clareburt, Devlin Forsyth, Thomas Watkins, and Hamish Trillin. That sounds like quite a strong squad. And Coast have David van der Star, Cole Drinnan, Josh McCormick Goethe, and Stephen Kent. Is that right? Is Stephen Kent swimming? I can't see him. But he will be, surely. I mean, he's coaching these days.
Yes,
oh, yes, there he
yes,
goes. I can see him. Yes,
yep.
Just had to check.
Nice to see them to be able to, the Coast Club being able to put a team in.
Yeah, yeah.
So who's going to win the first 100 here, John?
Well, I think it'll be either. Yeah, that's right.
Matthew Hutchins, here we go.
Do you think so?
Lane 5.
No, I think Lewis Clareburt. Or Callum Prime or David van der Star.
You're just backing your Wellingtonians.
Yeah, I know. It's a very good start. They're all out well, and instantly Matthew Hutchins with this great form that he has. He's in such superb form over here, and he's loving it. He's already set a New Zealand record in the 800. He's looking for the 1500 tomorrow, and he leads over the first 25 metres, coming up to the first 50.
John, this will be a good blowout. This will be a really good blowout for him too as well. He's had a rest today and he's swimming the 1500 tomorrow, and that's the event that he's targeted to qualify for the World Championships. We saw a fantastic swim from him in the 800 free last night, breaking the New Zealand record just outside that qualifying time. So we'll keep an eye on what sort of time he does here. He was second in the won the 200 freestyle, didn't he? Rolled Mick Stanley.
Up to the wall he comes, touches, 200 metres, we've gone through the 100. Hutchins holding it nicely. He always is such a delight to watch, isn't he? It's so effortless, and when you see that from swimmers, you know that while it looks as though it's easy, underwater they're doing so much work, propelling him on. And he's, that 800 last night, he was bitterly disappointed. He scored a New Zealand record, but was hoping to qualify for the Worlds out of it. He leads second, 1.68 ahead of Clareburt from Capital, Callum Prime of North Shore, David van der Star off Coast.
So 148.53 was the time that they set in the individual 200 freestyle. Clareburt looks really good too in lane number 6 here.
Into the water goes Zachary Clark, Devlin Forsyth for Capital, Tom Mulder, North Shore, and Cole Drinnan is the second swimmer for Coast. So now it's up to the Whanganui team to hold this lead. It was 1.3 seconds, I think, at the touch, so not a huge lead, but it's one which these swimmers are capable of maintaining. There, let's have a look at the difference. 1.8.
Well, the interesting thing is here that North Shore is 5 seconds behind at this stage. I wouldn't expect that at the end of the event. We're used to seeing them absolutely dominate, particularly this relay by the men. And they are clearly at this stage the top club team here at these national championships.
Well, second swimmer for Capital here is the man we talked a lot about a couple of nights ago, and it wasn't anything to do with his swimming. It was because when the lights went out, his name was on the big scoreboard here. It was the only light we could see, absolutely pitch black, and all we could see was Devlin Forsyth up on the screen. And here he is swimming in second position for Capital against Zachary Clark of Whanganui, Tom Mulder, North Shore. They're closing a little, Cauldronen for Coast.
Yes, Devlin Forsyth has actually swum a pretty good race here. He's just used the swimmer out in front of him, Zachary Clark from the Whanganui Club in Christchurch, and he's just maintained that little bit of a gap that he's got and trying to move up now. The last 30-odd metres of the 200 freestyle is where it really comes to bite you. A lot easier to chase. And we've got Whanganui out in front, Zachary Clark. And he's putting it together. Look at him just starting to wind up. He's got to do that. You want to maintain your speed going into the changeover to ensure that your swimmer gets the best changeover that they possibly can. You don't want to slow down and make it hard to get that timing. About a 1:56.9 for Zachary Clark over that 200 freestyle. So it's now Thomas Moot from Whanganui. Thomas Watkins from the Capital Swim Club, the young 16-year-old. Gosh, it's a young Capital Club, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Jackson Crop, he's been around for quite some time, and you expect this might be where North Shore are able to make some inroads. He's at 21 years of age, but then, of course, they've got Kone Kutsia off the back as well.
And what a team swimmer Kutsia is.
Yeah. And Stephen Kent will be off the back anchoring the Coast swim team, which is in 4th place. And Stephen Kent, when he gets in the water, we'll talk more about him, but he's coaching these days. He's still retaining some good fitness, obviously, and he's been a New Zealand representative.
Well, he also does a lot of surf as well,
yeah.
So he has to maintain his fitness for the surf. So they turn with 100 metres still to go before they give it off to the anchor swimmer.
Now that we see the gap just closing on second and third. But also, Whanganui haven't got it all their own way. There was a 2-second gap at the turn, and Thomas Moot can just look back as he is now on his left, and he'll just see the splash from Thomas Watkins, the 16-year-old from Capital.
Oh, look at Jackson Crop coming up now as well.
When they look the other way at the turn, they'll notice that North Shore Swimming in lane 4 has closed this gap and may well have narrowed it right down, 4 seconds back. So a big swim here from Jackson Crop.
Well, to be fair too, we talked about it earlier that they were 5 seconds now, so they've only gained 1 second at this stage. But what I'm liking about these Whanganui swimmers is the latter stages. Look at again, Thomas Moot just winding it up, making sure that he keeps the speed up in those last 20 metres going into the wall, and he's extended that lead.
Big kick as he hits the wall, no slowing, punches into the wall. And there's Capital second. They have Hamish Trillin. So William Campbell, Hamish Trillin and Kone Kutsia off for North Shore, and Stephen Kent is about to take off. You can see the change there, and he is off as the anchor swimmer for Coast Swimming. And he's been that member of the Kent family and been a stunning contributor to New Zealand swimming. His brother, his mother, late father, all contributing mightily to swimming in New Zealand. Oh my word, William Campbell is really moving, isn't he, over this first 100?
Yes, he is. William Campbell's done a great job for the Whanganui Club. It's really neck and neck now for second between the Capital Club and North Shore Swimming. They're still 4 seconds back, though, from the Whanganui swimmer. And that Whanganui swimmer, he's got 100 metres still to go. Let's keep an eye on what sort of time he can do over that last 100 metres. But have a look at that gap. It's narrowing all the time, 3.8. But that's a big ask to come back. But it's almost as if William Campbell now is starting to slow that stroke rate down. When you're out in front like this, you can go too quickly. And the swimmer behind, we've got Kutsi here.
Yeah.
We keep saying what a great team swimmer he is. And he's just coming back. He's coming back.
So they turn now with 50 to go. Whanganui have led through Hutchins, Clark, Moot, and now Campbell. And off the wall goes William Campbell. They're loving it. They're loving it. They have seen too that Kone Kutsia over 50 metres to go. He was posing a problem. He's closing that gap, but surely Campbell will hang on. Surely he will. Kutsia closes. Not enough time for him. Campbell. Oh, my word. He can sense, he can see him. And Campbell hangs on. And Whanganui win. Coetzee brings North Shore home in second. Trillin brings Capital in third. And Stephen Kent, I would like to have had a time on him. He was way back at the changeover, and he brings Coast home in fourth place to wrap up this competition on night 4 of finals at these national championships. It was a stunning, it was really excellent. The start, David van der Star, Callum Prime, Lewis Clareburt, but particularly Matthew Hutchins.
I just like the way the Whanganui team as a composite team swam. They controlled this race from the very start, as we said, with Matthew Hutchins, a 150 over the first 200 metres freestyle, but the fact that they also gave enough of a buffer for William Campbell. And the fact that all of their swimmers, nice change over there, they sped themselves up into the turns, or into the finishes, and made sure that the swimmer on top, he was able to be moving, but he was also able to work that timing very effectively as they came into the wall for the changeover. So a nice victory for the Whanganui club.
So there we are. Look at that gap, really. We've seen Whanganui win it from North Shore, but what, 1.3 seconds basically. So it was down from 5 seconds. Coetzee needed another 20 metres probably, but that's credit to that Whanganui team for starting well. Their entire team held and win the title. Whanganui, North Shore, Capital and Coast, the 4x200 freestyle relay. Most people are really happy. Those people don't look it, but it has been a very good night. We've got qualifiers. We didn't add to this tonight, but we were hopeful we might. You see Helena Gasson's name at the top and bottom there. She's qualified in 2 events. Corey Main, the 200 back. Emma Robinson, 800 free. Matthew Stanley, Sam Perry, Gabrielle Farmasili and Bradley Ashby. And then also to cap off these 3 sprinters, we see Daniel Hunter. So 3 swimmers have qualified for the 50-metre freestyle at the World Championships. That's night 4. Night 5, the last night, comes up tomorrow. We'll start with a couple of para events, the 100 free for both men and women. And then what will we see in that men's 1500 metres freestyle with Matthew Hutchins?
Well, hopefully a New Zealand record, hopefully a qualifying time as well, and the way he's improving. Big ask because he's come back from the United States.
We'll finish with the men's 4x100 medley and the women's prior to that, the women's 1500 metres freestyle. So a long night tomorrow with 2 1500 metres, but we are confident we'll get an addition to that New Zealand team for the World Championships, and we'll see how our sprinters go as well. That's all to come tomorrow night, same time here on Sky, live action from the final night of the National Swimming Championships in Auckland.